All right, everybody. This is Malak Shah back at you again on the Shabbat day. As the Shabbat is normally the time I do a video. Uh, there's a lot going on in the world, but it's starting to become old news. But I don't really think it's old news. I think it's part of the when a woman goes through her birthing, her what is it called, contractions. Because a lot of this stuff is like contractual, it's about birthing. The symbolism is about a woman birthing a child. All right. And so it's contractions. We got wars, rumors of wars, uh, earthquakes in diverse places, and all of that. Earth, the wind and the waves roaring on the sea. Uh, ethnos against ethnos, kingdom against kingdom. Oh my. Like the Wizard of Oz. I saw that Wizard of Oz movie was on TV the other day. That's letting us know we're getting close to Thanksgiving. Um, but it's a very interesting time of life that we're living in. Interesting time of the world. Obviously, if you uh, have not been noticing it, it does look like to most people that we're at World War III. It's coming upon us. Um, you have to be hiding up under a rock or something not to really sense what's going on in the world. But it's contractions. It's a woman that's bringing forth a child. She goes through contractions, and they say how many minutes in between contractions? Well, 5 minutes. As soon as that contraction get down to 2 minutes and starts getting down uh, really the very seconds, you know that baby's coming. All right. And I think that we're at the big contractions. Uh, we're at we're at the major place. When contractions are hitting, it's hitting the world where it hurts, right there at Israel, the land, the Holy Land. You know, and I think that's where the whole thing is pointing to. It's pointing to Israel, the land and the people. All right, because you got Israel, the land, you got Israel, the people. But it's becoming a very serious thing, a very serious offense to some people to find out who the true Israelites really are. And that should not be surprising to us. All right. But the world is in for some very serious awakening. All right. A very serious awakening. Because now you got Yahweh involved in this whole thing. All right. That land, he says, is his. The land over there of Israel, he said, is his. Let me see something real quick. Ezekiel. Prophecy to the mountains of Israel. So it's talking about the land, the mountains of Israel. Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 1. Also, thou son of man, prophesy unto the mountains of Israel, and say, Ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus saith Adonai Yahweh, because the enemy have said against you, Aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possession. So right there it's saying, because the enemy have said against you, O mountains, Aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possession. So that's basically saying the enemy has the land of Israel, the mountains of Israel right now. The enemy, let me highlight that. Because there's a controversy in the world about who that land really belongs to and who are the true Israelites. All right, there's a big time controversy because the enemy, one is the enemy and probably the other one is the real people. But when I was a kid, I used to love this. I used to like this cartoon, this little fairy tale. Whether it was true or not, I'm not sure. Called The Prince and the Pauper. The Prince and the Pauper. And there's a story about these two people. One is a prince. He's a kid. He's a prince. He's a young man. And the pauper is another young man. He's poor, obviously a pauper. And the prince was the son of a king. Both of them look just alike. They look the splitting image of one another. All right. Hold on just a moment. One of my favorite shows of all time. Why I like the show? Maybe it has something to do with something that was going on spiritually. Prince and the Pauper does remind me of the two peoples that are vying to be called Israel. Now, anyway, you probably look that up on YouTube or something, find that movie or some renditions of it, the cartoons of the Prince and the Pauper. But but it also reminds me of a dream that I had years ago. I was a young man at the time too, where I was walking down the street and was searching. I don't know what I was searching for, but I was searching. All of a sudden, this prince, which I knew who it was right off the bat, he was Yahweh Shai, Jesus, met me in the street wearing all black, a black t-shirt, black pants. And he looked at me and smiled and guided me. He didn't say a word. He just guided me. He wanted me to follow him. And he took me to his father's house, to his house. All right. Before we got to the father's house, there was it was like a regular neighborhood. It's really something else. It was like a regular neighborhood. But when we got to the house, I could sense that there were gangs that were rival to the father, his father. His father was like the godfather, right? And there were gangs around the place, and they were very, very evil and wicked. I didn't see them, but I could feel them. And one thing I knew that they sensed, they knew not to mess with this people right here. Yahweh Shai's father, Jesus' father. They knew not to mess with them, but they were wicked and evil. And Yahweh Shai took me into the house. When I went into the house, his father was sitting on the couch, and his father was sitting on the couch. He's a big man, like a gangster, head gangster. And he set me right across from him, like where the TV was at. And he went and sat next to his father. His father looked at me and then looked at his son and smiled at him. Now, the major thing, if I hadn't told you yet about the dream, is that the son, which was Yahweh Shai Jesus, looked exactly like me, or I looked exactly like him. The only thing was that the son was a perfect image of me. Where I was imperfect at, he was perfect. All right. We look just alike. It kind of reminds me of that movie, The Prince and the Pauper. But where I'm going with this is that there's two people that were born that was vying for the birthright. That's Jacob and Esau, or Esau and Jacob, because Esau was the older. Normally, back in ancient times, when these things were going on, the older son got the birthright. But it had been prophesied to Rebecca that the 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 elder would serve the younger, because she had trouble going on in her womb and she didn't know why. After years of not being able to have children, all of a sudden, God blessed her and opened up her womb. And she wanted to know why if she was pregnant and this was a blessing, why was she going through a lot of stuff in her pregnancy, like a war going on in her stomach? And the prophecy said there's two nations in thy womb, two manner of people would be separated from her bowels. One people would be stronger than the other, and elder would serve the younger. All right. And you know the story in Genesis that the first one came out red all over like a hairy garment. That was Esau. And the second one came out holding the heel of Esau, and and they gave him the name Jacob, which means supplanter. all right? Supplanting, all right, which means to supplant somebody, like somebody that's slicked, all right? But if they was fighting in the womb, that the real firstborn come out of the womb first. You know what I'm saying? Just think about that. If Yahweh by what is it called? Uh, intention. He really meant for Jacob to have the birthright from the very beginning. What did Esau do in that womb to come out first? What did he do in the womb? What dirty maneuver did he do? That he come out first, but the prophecy was the elder would serve the younger. All right. And it's a kind of the same thing that's going on for this land over here that we call Israel, the mountains of Israel in the latter days. We got two people striving that's saying that they Israel. Let me read that again. Thus saith Adonai Yahweh, because the enemy have said unto you, Aha, the ancient high places are ours in possession. So one people is the enemy, the other people are the true people. Like a prince and a pauper, but the prince and the pauper was a pretty good movie. The prince was a really good guy. He kind of wanted to take a break from being the prince, and he gave his position to the pauper who looked just like him to enjoy it while he became an ordinary human being. You know, you can see a lot of stuff biblical in that story. Therefore prophesy and say, this verse 3, thus saith Adonai Yahweh, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that you might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen. And you are taken up in the lips of talkers and are an infamy of the people. Therefore, you mountains of Israel, hear the word of Yahweh, Adonai Yahweh. And that word, that term calling Yahweh Adonai Yahweh, it has something to do with the restoration. Whenever you see Yah being called that, Adonai Yahweh, this is Yah delivering his people. Thus saith Adonai Yahweh to the mountains and to the hills, to the rivers, to the valleys, to the desolate wastes, and to the cities that are forsaken, which became a prey and derision to the residue of the heathen that are round about. Therefore, thus saith Adonai Yahweh. There he goes again. He's saying Adonai Yahweh quite a few times, which means he's kind of upset. Surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea. So which people is this that's basically in the Holy Land claiming to be Jacob? It's got to be Idumea. All right, let me highlight this. I'm going to be honest with you. I've always wanted to be who I really was. Even if I was the devil, I'd probably come out and say, guess what, y'all? I'm the devil. That's just me. People think I was crazy and all of that. No, he ain't the devil, and I turned out to be the devil in the end. All right. Hold on just a moment. You know, that's the type of person I am. I don't tell everything about myself, but if I'm wrong about something, I admit it. There are people like that, and the saints should be like that. All right. There's a scripture in the Bible says, confess your faults one to another and pray for one another that you may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. That's the book of James, whose James' really name is really Yaakov. But when they translate it into English, they keep up with James. So the King James version of the Bible is really the King Yaakov version of the Bible. All right. His name is really Yaakov. All right. Idumea, which is really Edom, the realm and the kingdom of the empire of Edom. All right. So I call Idumea. So whoever these people are, there's a controversy about that, because the people of Idumea don't want to be known as who they really are. All right. They don't really want nobody to know that they really Idumea. And really, to be honest with you, the devil, do you think the devil wants to be known as being the devil? Does he do most of his work by people not knowing who he really is? Does he do most of his work making people believe that he is not the devil? I would say so. If you got a thief, right? You got a thief that's coming to rip you off, all right? Is he gonna run out and tell everybody that he's a thief and he's coming to rip this house off over here? No. So it's likewise Satan, the devil, and the dragon. When I tell you who he is and what he's getting ready to do, he does most of his evil. Most of his evil is telling folks he is not the devil. So likewise, Idumea, which is the people in the land before Yahweh delivers his people in the latter days, will tell folks that they're not Esau, that they really the Jews, that they really are Yah's chosen people. All right. Thing is that Yah is coming down here. A lot of people I hear, and I hear it constantly still to this day, are saying that Yahweh Shai is the one that's coming, that's going to set everything right. I still dare to rebuke that. It's Yahweh that's coming. That's why the Bible calls it the day of Yahweh. It didn't say the day of the son of Yahweh, the day of Yahweh. And Yahweh Shai basically he came when he came to the earth 2,000 years ago. Read the book of John. It goes all the way through it, through the whole book, saying that he was sent by the Father. He's not talking his own talk. He's not walking his own walk. He's not doing miracles from his own self. All of this is of the Father. The Father sent him to do what he was doing, speak what he was speaking, and walk what he was walking, talk what he was talking. The Father sent Yahweh Shai. The very one is coming in the latter day. Now, does that mean Yahweh Shai is not coming back? No, it doesn't mean that. But the major one that's coming, the major one that's going to turn the world upside down, is going to make the world become back what he created it to be, is Yahweh himself. He's going to be enthroned in the earth, not just symbolically, where he's enthroned, but where is he at? Look at the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant was really a symbol of Yahweh enthroned in the holy place between two cherubs. All right, between two cherubim. All right. So it's Yahweh that's coming. Who is going to be our high priest? Spiritual high priest? It's going to be Yahweh Shai. Who's the one that's going to take vengeance out on the enemy? It's Yahweh. Who's the one that's going to be basically set up to be king? Let me not say it like that, because when you go to Revelation chapter 21, 22, it calls the throne in Jerusalem the throne of God and of the Lamb. It was both of their thrones. But the one that's coming, that's going to knock the lights out of the enemy, is Yahweh himself. All right? And that's the problem. Most people saying, Yahweh Shai is coming back. And it's like, to the enemy, to Idumea, it's a joke. Because I think Idumea has read the Bible enough to realize that somebody's coming that ain't Yahweh Shai. Are they wrong about that? No, they're right. They're correct about it. There's somebody coming that's not the Son of God. It's Yahweh himself. But anyway, therefore, thus saith Adonai Yahweh, surely in the fire of my jealousy. So he's going to be really jealous. The fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession. Whose land is this? Let me highlight this real quick. Whose land is it that he's saying that it is? It's this key right here. Who is this? Adonai Yahweh. This word, this Lord right here is 136. Let's see. Adonai, right? Let's take a look at this 3069 for God, all caps for God. Yahweh. Now remember, and I speak from the paleo point of view. When you're speaking, you say this word right here in paleo Hebrew is Yahweh, because there's no V in paleo Hebrew. There's no E sound. Yeah, it's Yah. There's no O in the paleo Hebrew. It's Ah. So it's Yah, Ah, Y. The I sound is in paleo Hebrew. It's called an ayin. So it's Yah, Ah, Y. All right. Right here, they got it all still all the way wrong. Yeah, 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 holy, yeah, hey, well, yeah, I don't even want to say it. All right. I'd rather keep my pronunciation, my natural Hebrew mouth. All right. And so it's Adonai Yahweh. Uh, I'm not gonna read that, but that idea of that name, what I read in other commentaries about this name, that it does have something to do with Yah delivering his people. All right. So whose land is this that he's mad about and he's jealous of? His own land. So whose land is the land of Israel? It's Yahweh's land. All right. Let me highlight this. The land of Israel is Yahweh's. So he said, they appointed my land to their possession. All right. Into their possession with the joy of all their heart. Let me highlight that. So these heathen, along with Idumea, appointed Yahweh's land into their possession. Highlight it for you. With the joy of all their heart. I was talking to my son a little earlier today. We was talking about this joy. Just because, when you get with a woman, with a young lady, all right, just because you have joy with her does not mean that she's your woman. Just like this land is not like the heathens or Idumeans, but they appointed the land into their possession with the joy of all their heart. How you know a woman is yours? Because you got the joy of Yahweh with her. When you're with her, the joy of Yahweh. See, just the joy of your heart doesn't mean that it's the joy of Yahweh. All right. The joy of Yahweh is strength. It's your strength. When Yahweh is involved in a relationship with a young man, Yahweh gives that woman to that man. But Yahweh isn't gonna wait until you're ready, and you're ready by faith. Because just think of a young lady. That's Yahweh's daughter. All right, a woman that loves Yahweh is Yahweh's daughter, and He will protect her from you if you're not ready with, in faith. That means He will keep you two separated, but you won't be able to meet one another. And yes, what I'm saying is that Yah has created every man with a need. Every man has a need. In order to get that Eve, you definitely have to be a man of faith. And some people wonder if there's a love, like I used to wonder, a love that is the person for you, your half. Yeah, it's true. So when Yah made Adam and He took the rib from Adam and made her into a woman, He did that for every man, not just for Adam. But a man has to be upright and faithful and walking with Him in order to get that rib. All right. But there's a lot of women out here that you can have joy with. There's a lot of men out there that for the woman that's listening to this, they have joy with. But if it's not the joy of your house, then that's not your mate. That's not your spouse. In order to get the one that you would have the joy of your house with, you have to come to it by faith. All right. You have to grow, and it might take a long time. To experiment with other people is just wasting it. It's taking long. It's gonna make more. It's gonna make it longer. So that's the reason why it's good for women to be virgins, and even for men to not touch a woman or a virgin, because you'll find that person that you're supposed to be with sooner than later. All right, but they appointed the land into their possession, the heathen and Idumea, with the joy of all their heart. As a matter of fact, I think it's somewhere in the Revelation that says that the New Jerusalem came down from heaven like a bride, adorned for her husband, right? So they're appointing this Jerusalem and the land of Israel like a bride to themselves with the joy of all their heart. That's not their wife, see? I don't know if these people, these heathen and Idumea and the Edomites, will ever find, or whether they do have their their rib, and if they do, they had a split image of the devil. In other words, the devil's daughter is what they got. But by them making the land of Israel theirs, they're trying to make a woman that's meant for a particular man their woman instead of getting the devil's daughter. Excuse me. They don't want the devil's daughter. They want Yahweh's daughter for a wife, but they're the devil. All right. The devil wants an angel for a wife. All right. But anyway, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land, and Yahweh is basically to let us know that this land is really his. All right. So basically, it's telling you that Yahweh is coming down and he's going to possess his land. Whoever's in that land is not supposed to be in there. It's going to be in some trouble. Okay. And I would not want to be in that land and not supposed to be in it. They appointed my land in their possession with the joy of all their heart, with the spiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. All right, for a prey. And this word right here reminds me, for a prey, reminds me of how it says that, talking about the two sons of Isaac, Jacob and Esau, that Jacob was a plain man, perfect man, dwelling in tents. And Esau was a man of the field. All right. But Esau was out there hunting prey. He was a hunter. All right. He was a man that basically went out and would take his bow and arrow out there and catch deer and all types of good tasting meat. And that's the reason why Isaac loved him, like Esau. Because he ate of the scripture says he had meat in his mouth. It says Esau was Isaac's favorite because he had meat in his mouth. Oh my goodness. That's the reason why he loved the son Esau, because he had meat in his mouth. So Esau was giving him some of that prey. But right here it says that these heathen and Idumea basically cast the land out for a prey. That does not sound like Jacob, who was basically a plain man or a perfect man, dwelling in tents. So Jacob is not a hunter. He's not someone that's out there with weapons and hunting down animals nor people. So these are hints right here that Yah is giving us. All right, because he's using the terminology that they cast the land out for a prey. All right. Prophesy therefore concerning the land of Israel, say unto the mountains, into the hills, and to the rivers, to the valleys. Thus saith Adonai Yahweh, behold, I have spoken in my jealousy and in my fury, because you have borne the shame of the heathen. That means he's talking to the land, that the land has borne the shame of the heathen. And you notice that land over there is not like the Garden of Eden. It's a desert that they have kind of irrigated. They made stuff grow. It's just like Las Vegas. You know, it's a desert. It's a desert out here, all over the place. All right. But they have, through technology, through irrigating the water, causing the water to run from Lake Mead and different rivers or different lakes, they have made it kind of look like a little bit of a little, flourishing place a little bit. But if you go to a place that ain't got water and it's got irrigation, it's a desert. All right. It's a desert. All right. So you look at Israel today, it's a desert. But remember that in ancient times, this was the Holy Land, the land full of what is it? Land of milk and honey, right? That means a land that basically had a lot of flourishing going on with plants and food and everything. But it's not like that today. What happened? All right. It's because the land was been given over to the heathen. And Yah is not blessing the land with the people that's not supposed to be there. All right. Therefore, thus saith Adonai Yahweh, I have lifted up my hand. Surely the heathen that are about you, they shall bear their shame. Now, he's talking to the land, but it's also concerning his people too. At the same time, it's got a little hint about his people too. All right, they don't bear their shame. So, in other words, his people in the land are bearing the shame of the heathen and Idumea. Idumea and the heathen are saying that they are the true Israelites, the true Jews. All right. And the true Jews they're not even going by the identity of being Israelites or Jews. They've been scattered among the nations. They fell by the edge of the sword and they were scattered among all nations. And Jeremiah 17 says that they would cease from their heritage that Yah gave them. That means they would be among the nations not as Israelites or as a tribe of Israel. They'd be among the nations as Negro, what other people? Mexican, Puerto Rican. You know, they be having other names on them instead of Israelite. It'd be almost against the law to call them an Israelite. Why? Because Yah made it that way, because they sinned against Yah. And he promised that he would punish them that way. All right. But ye, O mountains of Israel, this is verse 8, you shall shoot forth your branches and yield your fruit to my people of Israel, for they are at hand to come. So when the true people are ready to come home, it's not going to be through irrigation or through some type of technology. All of a sudden, the mountains of Israel will shoot forth their branches and yield their fruit for the people of Israel, which are on their way back home. All right. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't seen this happen yet. Maybe it's starting to happen and people keeping shush about it. All right. But it's gonna shoot forth the branches and yield the fruit for the true people of Israel. And they had not yet gotten back into the land yet. But behold, I am for you, and I will turn unto you, and you should be tilled and sown. And I will multiply men upon you, all the house of Israel, even all of it, and the city shall be inhabited, and the waste shall be builded. So Yah's major idea is to bring all Israel back. He's not talking about just the 3 southern tribes, the house of Judah, Levi, and Benjamin. Not just 3 tribes. He's talking about getting all 12 tribes back in there. All right, as we see in, I think it's, what is it? Ezekiel chapter 37, about the 2 sticks, which means the 2 houses of Israel, the 2 kingdoms, being joined together into 1 stick. In Yahweh's hand, going to bring all 12 tribes back. Behold, I'm for you and will turn unto you, and you shall be tilled and sown. And I will multiply men upon you, all the house of Israel, even all of it. See that? Even all of it. And the cities shall be inhabited, and the ways shall be built. I will multiply upon you man and beast, and they shall increase and bring fruit. And I will settle you after your old estates, and will do better unto you than at your beginnings, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. All right. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's really working up to this day when Yahweh reveals himself, and he's basically getting his people back. All right. And like I said, one thing that the people that's in the land today, and I'm going to say this sarcastically, whether they are the true Israelites or not, one thing they know is that Yahweh's coming. All right. And they calling Yahweh the Messiah. All right. The Messiah to come. They don't believe that Yahweh Shai or Jesus is really Messiah. All right. But when I read the scriptures, when it talks about the one that's coming in the latter day, okay, I agree with the people that's in the land and what they're talking about to a certain degree. That there's one that's coming, and I know he's Yahweh. Even Job tells us that. I know, he said, what did he say? I know that my Redeemer liveth. And in the latter day, he will stand upon the earth. So in the latter day, which is the last day, are we at the last day? Maybe we are. Was 2,000 years ago the last day? No. All right. So Yahweh Shai did not stand upon the earth in the last day. All right. But there's one that's coming that's going to be a redeemer. Job called him his redeemer. And in the last day, what's the last day? The day of Yahweh. He will stand upon the earth. All right. He's the one that's really the true redeemer. He's the one that sent Yahweh Shai to do what he did. So who's the redeemer? The one that sent Yahweh Shai is the redeemer. Now, the scripture basically tells a portrait in the story that if Yahweh Shai is his son, the one Yahweh's son, which I believe he is, then the son came down and stood up on the earth before the father. So the father is coming down later. All right. Kind of sounds something like the Terminator or something like that. One of those movies. All right. Yea, I will cause men to walk upon you, even my people Israel, and they shall possess thee. And thou shalt be their inheritance, and thou shalt no more henceforth bereave them of men. All right. So there's a controversy going on for this land. And it looks like we're going through birth pains in order to get there. All right. And the birth pains seem to be bringing forth something. What is the birth pains bringing forth? All right. The birth pains seem to be bringing forth a son. All right. Birth pains bringing forth a son, a child. All right. What is this child? I don't think it's bringing forth just only a little baby with diapers on. I think the son is a man child that is bringing forth. Like the scripture says, a man child. It's bringing forth somebody. Okay, and I think it is Yahweh. Like 1 Timothy 3:16 says, great is the mystery of godliness. God manifest in the flesh, justified in the spirit, seen of angels, preached unto the Gentiles, received up in the glory. So what does this guy do once he's revealed and down here he becomes God again? All right, because he's going to become who he really is. He's going to be in human form. He's going to grow in human form into becoming God. And what happens when that happens? It says he's received up in the glory. It sounds like Yahweh Shai though, does it? Because once he basically went through all he went through and he was made perfect, he was taken up into heaven and sat on the right hand of the Father. Or is it that the Yahweh Shai or Jesus is looking just like his Father and doing what his Father does? That means that what we saw, what happened with Yahweh Shai, is similar, not the same, as what's going to happen to the Father when he comes. All right. So the earth, or Israel, put it that way, Israel is bringing forth a man child. So the birth pains and all of that that's coming, that's on its way, that is starting to have what is it called? I forgot the word again. That's having these contractions. There they are. Contractions of war and destruction. Sooner or later is going to bring forth that child. So really, to be honest with you, World War III really features Yahweh. When he comes forth, that's when all trouble, all hell is going to break loose. When he comes forth, he's going to be a man child. He's going to be already a grown man. And he's going to be received up in the glory. Because he is the King of glory. All right. Let's go there real quick. Let's go there. Let's find out who is the King of glory. Now, I used to preach and teach that Yahweh Shai was Yahweh. And that he was the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And Yah revealed to me I was wrong about it. I've been filled with the Spirit. I've been born again, filled with the Spirit. And Yah has done some things in my life that basically are supernatural. All right. Let me see if I can speed this thing over a little bit. Let's get in the way just a moment. But one of the major things he's done recently, he came down and it was like he was invisible. And this was a few years ago. And it was the Son. It was Yahweh. Now the Son is up in heaven, but his spirit, he has the seven spirits of God according to Revelation chapter 5. That means his spirit is sent forth into all earth. All right. So there's a lamb with 7 horns on him, which is the 7 spirits of God, which is the Holy Spirit. So it was the Son that spoke to me. Scoot this over just a little bit. The Son spoke to me and said that he was not. He said, I'm not Yahweh. When he spoke to me and told me he was not Yahweh, he opened up my mind. I caught it. All right, because I was one of the ones that would basically debate and everything. No, Yahweh Shai is Yahweh. I would have scriptures and everything to prove it. But the Son came and spoke to me and said, I'm not Yahweh. When he said it, I caught it, and from that time on, I've been teaching and preaching that Yahweh is the Father, not the Son. That Yahweh Shai is not really the God of the Bible, he's the Son of God. All right. Psalm 24, earth is Yahweh's, the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. And this is really, we really got to know that when the scripture says to love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart, mind, soul, body, and strength, that's the greatest commandment of all. This is the one you're supposed to be loving. All right. This is the one that you're supposed to be lauding. That means hallowing his name. As Yahweh taught us to pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So the one that we're supposed to really hallow is really the Father. Now we recognize what Yahweh did, and we also praise and give him honor and glory for what he's done. And he's done the Father's will perfectly. But overall, this is the one we hallow because this person, Yahweh, created his son in the very beginning. He created the one that would become his son, Yahweh. All right. And he created him like that to do that work. And was the one that was working in him when he died on the cross. He rose from the dead, when he was healing folks, when he's doing miracles, walking on water, preaching and teaching. That was Yahweh inside his son Yahweh or Jesus. So who's the one that we really supposed to be praising? Yahweh. We give the Son glory and honor too for obeying the Father's will and doing what he did. So the earth is Yahweh's and the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. For he hath founded it upon the seas and established it upon the floods. Who shall ascend? Now check this out. We just heard this story about how the world was created and it was belonging to Yahweh. But this scripture right here, who shall ascend to the hill of Yahweh? What is the hill of Yahweh? Does anybody out there know what the hill of Yahweh is? Let me highlight this whole scripture. Who shall ascend? And the word ascend is basically what you think it is. Who shall ascend from the earth? Who shall ascend from the earth into the hill of Yahweh? Or who shall stand in this holy place? Now it also can mean who shall be on the earth and ascend to Yahweh's throne. Now this really is something else. We read over this all the time and we look past it because it's too profound for us to really understand it from right up the top. And I used to think, well, that's Yahweh Shai. He's going to ascend into Yahweh. He's going to stand in his holy place. When I thought Yahweh Shai was Yahweh. All right. But when you look at this, you look at it real good. Who shall ascend into the hill of Yahweh? Or who shall stand in his holy place? All right. And now we're looking at it differently. This hill of Yahweh is Jerusalem. It's the holy hill, the holy place where the temple is supposed to be at. Now we know there's a hill up in heaven too, just like it, where Yahweh's throne and his temple is up in heaven. And so there's two hills, two places, holy places. One is in heaven, one on the earth. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So if the kingdom is going to be on the earth as it is in heaven, that's two holy places. Now remember, when it says great is the mystery of godliness, God manifest in the flesh, justified in the spirit, seen of angels, preached unto the Gentiles, received up in the glory. So he's going to ascend not only to the hill on earth, he's going to ascend to the holy hill in heaven. Okay? Now let's get to the major point. All right. It says, he that hath a clean hands and a pure heart, and not lifted up his soul in the vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. That's the one that's going to ascend into the hill of Yahweh. If he's going to ascend from the earth, right? He's going to ascend from the earth. That means Yahweh is going to be on the earth. All right. Now you can look at this right here, which I did at first. Say, well, that's Yahweh Shai. Well, let's go on. He that have clean hands and a pure heart, and who have not lifted up his soul into vanity, nor sworn deceitfully, he shall receive the blessing from Yahweh, the righteous, and the righteousness from the Elohim of his salvation. All right. So when Yahweh comes down here, will he have a God? It's something to think about. All right. Because it said he in righteousness from the Elohim of his salvation. Really something to think about. And if he does have an Elohim, would his Elohim be his own son? All right. Would Yahweh put himself, his own self, in a position while he's on the earth under his own laws, under his own authority that he left in charge of in heaven? Something to think about. This is the generation of them that seek him, that seek thy face, O Jacob. Lift up your heads, O you gates. Here we go. Be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Now, who is this King of glory? Verse 8. Yahweh strong and mighty, Yahweh mighty in battle. So is Yahweh Shai Yahweh? No. Let's highlight that real quick. Yahweh Shai is the son of Yahweh. He's the son of God. But he's not Yahweh. And that's what he come down and specifically paid me a visit a few years ago. And he told me, he said, I'm not Yahweh. I'm not Yah. And he opened up my understanding at the same time when he said it. I was ready to hear it too. But I was really keen in this doctrine about Yahweh Shai being Yahweh. But right here, if Yahweh Shai is not Yahweh, the King of glory is Yahweh. It's not Yahweh Shai. All right. Yahweh Shai stood in the place of the King of glory, sent by the King of glory. All right. But he is not Yahweh. He's not the King of glory. Who is the King of glory? Yahweh. And that word Yahweh is 3068. Highlight this real quick and take a look at it. And we got this King James Version written in English. It basically glorifies Baal, the god Baal. This word right here for Yahweh, which they got Lord and Cas, it's really Baal, and they put Baal instead of Yahweh. So it goes to show you what these people are really worshiping. So Hebrew 30:16, let's take a look at it. Yahweh. So instead of putting Yahweh in there, they put Baal. So the self-existent or eternal Yahweh. Jehovah right here. All right, let's see. Highlight that for you. They put Jehovah. Technically, you could say, well, that's the translation. That's a translation into the English. But in Hebrew, there's no J. There's no J sound. Yahweh. But for all of Jehovah's Witnesses, is that really Yahweh? But anyway, Jewish national name of God, Jehovah, the Lord, or Yahweh. So this God that's self-existent. All right, let me highlight that real quick. So that's what his name means, self-existent. Duh. I got it in, what is it called? These right here, got it. But it's really saying he's really the self-existent. Parentheses. Add parentheses in there, saying the self-existent. All right. So is Yahweh Shai self-existent? No. If you're doing scripture, you're reading the scripture correctly, Yahweh Shai is not self-existent. He's the beginning of the creation of God. He says that in the book of Revelation in the first, let's see, chapter 2 or chapter 3, the beginning of the creation of God. So when God created everything, he created Yahweh Shai first. So this King of glory is really Yahweh. Lift up your heads, O you gates, even lift them up, you everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? Yahweh of hosts. He is the King of glory, Selah. All right. So who's coming in these latter days to solve this controversy about Zion? It's Yahweh. And he's coming jealous. He's jealous for his land, for his people in his land. All right. So the people that's basically taking over his folks' land gonna be in some trouble. All right. They're gonna be in some trouble. So whoever Esau is, and I think I got a real 99% sure idea of who Esau is, or who Esau is mostly hiding within people on earth. All right. I think I got a very good idea of who it really is. They're gonna be in some trouble when Yahweh shows up. And Yahweh himself is using all of this to prepare his people, to get his people to, how can I put it? Yahweh's not like as if he didn't know that Edom was going to do what they did. He's the one that ordained it. All right. Yahweh ordained Esau to be like he is. He used it to purge his people, to create a people that's righteous. He used all of the trouble, all of the tribulation that Esau brought up on the earth, the evil and wickedness they've done to his people, to purge his own people. Now, the book of Obadiah stares on about what will happen with Esau and Edom. Let's see. But the day of Yahweh is near. Obadiah 1:15, for the day of Yahweh is near. So when it's the day of Yahweh, when Yahweh shows up, the man-child is ready. All right. And it does say in the book of 1 Timothy 3:16, I've quoted it a couple times so far. It does say that he's going to be called, he's going to be received up in the glory, but he's not going to just stay up there. He's going to come back down. So when Yahweh is in the earth and he's taken out of the way, when he becomes the man-child and he's taken out of the way, he's going to be received up in the glory. That's when Satan is kicked out of the heavens. And if Satan is not up in the heavens, all right, then basically we have World War III. We have a lot of trouble going on there. Revelation chapter 12 speaks about the man-child being caught up to God and to his throne. After that, Michael kicks Satan out of heaven. When Satan realizes he's been kicked out of heaven, he's on the earth, he knows that his time is short, and he goes forth to fight against the woman that brought forth the man child. So Satan's major purpose after that happens is to destroy the woman that brought forth the man child. If he can't get with the man child, with Yahweh, at least he's gonna try to destroy his people. So he don't have a people to reign over. All right. So the major people that Satan is trying to destroy is the man child. Excuse me, is the woman, which is Israel. All right. But the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen, as thou hast done. Now the day of Yahweh is near upon who? It's near upon all the heathen. Well, you notice it didn't say Jacob. The day of Yahweh is near upon Jacob and the heathen. And notice it didn't say that. I'm gonna tell you why. Because the great tribulation that Jacob had to go through, he's already mostly gone through for the last 2,000 years, starting with the destruction of the temple, falling by the edge of the sword, and being led captive into all nations of the earth. This has been going on for a long time. So on this day, when Yahweh becomes the man child, now things will be turned over, where Jacob now is favored. The one that was carried off into all nations in the captivity will be favored. And the heathen, including Idumea, the day of Yahweh will be upon them. That means their tribulation now is coming. So for the last 2,000 years, the heathen and Esau, Idumea, has not had no tribulation. For the last 2,000 years at least. Israel's been going through tribulation even while Yahweh was up on the earth. All right. Jacob has been going through tribulation even while Yahweh was up on the earth. So when this day of Yahweh happens, it's going to be upon the heathen. Okay? Not upon Jacob. He's done. When the day of Yahweh happens, Jacob is done with his tribulation. Hallelujah. All right. As thou hast done, as who has done? The heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. All right. So as the heathen is done, it shall be done unto them. All right. Thy reward shall return into thine own head. And I think Revelation chapter 13 says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. All right. Obadiah 1:16, 16th verse. Whereas you have drunk upon my holy mountain. Who? Who has drunk upon his holy mountain? This whole chapter is about Idumea, Esau. So Esau drunk upon his holy mountain. As you have drunk upon my holy mountain, and this is Yahweh talking. So shall all heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink and they shall swallow down. And they shall be as though they had not been. So he's basically talking about taking these people all the way out. Here's something that most people don't know. Judas Iscariot, one of Yahweh's disciples, called Judas Iscariot, the one that basically betrayed Yahweh. He really didn't do anything Yahweh was not aware of, because Yahweh said before in his ministry, have I not chosen you 12, and one of you is a devil? So he already knew one of them was a devil. But most people don't know that Judas was really a Edomite. Most people don't know that. Because his name tells you that his name was, his last name, not Judas. Judas means Judah. But Iscariot means, Ish means man. In Hebrew, you look at the word man and you'll find the word Ish. So he's a man of what? What is he a man of? Man of Cario. It was a city that basically was where the Edomites lived at in Israel. They lived on the border of Edom and Israel, because Edom was chased out of their land by the Arabs, and when they got chased out of their land, Judah was in captivity to Babylon. So they came in and they started living in the land of Judah. When Judah came out of captivity, eventually they forced the Edomites to become Jews through religion, if they was going to live in the land of Israel. All right. One of the places they lived at, most of the Edomites lived at, and that was a part of Israel's territory, was Cario. So when it says Judas Ish, it means man of Cario. So he was from the place where the Edomites lived at. All right. And it says that when he betrayed Yahweh talked about him and said that the man that betrays him, that deceives him, betrays him, it'd be better if he had never been born. All right. And this is what it's saying right here. They should swallow down, they should be as though they had not been. All right. As though they had never existed. So basically, in the land of Israel, it's going to be, when this restoration takes place, it's going to be like as if they had never existed. It's like as if it had never happened. They won't leave a stain upon the world history, because it's going to be so great of a thing. Yahweh is going to make the whole world forget all the evils that had been done before him. All right, he's going to make the whole world forget. You know, there's a saying that says when a woman is in birth, she's having contractions and all of that, she's in pain. But when she brings forth that child, that's so great that now a man child is born into the world, that she forgets all of that pain and all that for joy that a man child is born into the world. So that's how it's going to be. When Yahweh comes, he's going to make Israel forget it. Because the greatness, the joy, like we said, the joy of all their heart, the joy that a man child, that Yahweh is in the world, it's going to be so great, the word, the evil that Esau and Idumea and the heathen did it's going to pale in comparison to the joy that the world's going to have. Right? But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance. On Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness. And the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. You imagine a people that never they don't even have a thought or a remembrance of them being free. All right, their whole existence been in captivity in another people's land, being second-class citizens. They're gonna possess their possessions. They're gonna have Yah with them, the creator of the heavens and the earth. He's gonna be on their side. He's gonna be their God. He's not only gonna be their God, but he's gonna be their flesh and blood. The flesh that he's gonna be manifested in is gonna be their flesh. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. They shall kindle in them and devour them. They shall not be as any remaining. There shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh has spoken. All right. So who's going to do all of this is Yahweh. That's what it's called, the day of Yahweh. Is there a day of Yahweh, Shai? Yeah, it speaks about it in the New Testament. But the day that this is going to happen is called the day of Yahweh. They of the south shall possess the mount of Esau. They of the plain, the Philistines, basically probably the Palestinians. And they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead. And the captivity of this host of the children of Israel shall possess that of the Canaanites, even unto Zarephath. And the captivity of Jerusalem, which is in Zarephath shall possess the cities of the south. And Savior shall come upon the Mount Zion to judge the Mount of Esau. And the kingdom shall be, guess whose? Yahweh's. So over there, what's going on with these birth pains, these contractions that's happening, that's bringing forth this child. All right, and it's going to continue to happen until that child comes out. All right, this is what it's amounting to. This is what it's coming to. It's coming to the great tribulation that many Christians even are preaching about. But this great tribulation that's coming up on the earth is not. It's not going to be Jacob's tribulation. Verse 15 again, over there at the top of the screen says, "For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen." Upon all the heathen, not upon Jacob. They're going to be delivered. So when we see Jacob not giving a damn about what's going over there in the Holy Land, what's going on, it's because he knows that just with good sense, especially those filled with the Holy Spirit, He knows it's going to come out for their good. Sure, nobody, I don't think anybody, especially sheep people, but that's what Jacob is. He's sheep people. I don't think they want to see oppression and killing and all of that stuff that they see on the news. Oppression and what is it called when you kill off a particular people? Genocide. Especially Jacob don't want to see that because they tried to genocide him. Native Americans is Jacob too. They tried to kill off, and they did kill off a lot of the people that were the original inhabitants of this land. But genocide is in their history. They don't want to see that the people being genocided over there in the Holy Land. But they do know, just by this sense, that in the end, they're going to be good. They're going to finally have their day. The day of Yahweh is their day. It's the 12 tribes of Israel's day, their day of deliverance. All right. And I have to say, from what I read and studied in the scripture, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be good. And other things that I've studied is that this 2024 is coming up on us. We got another month and a half or whatever. So we're in the Gregorian calendar of 2024. But we got an eclipse coming around the beginning of the Hebrew calendar, Abib year. We got an eclipse. It's coming in. We had one in 2017 that went all the way across America. Like the half of an X. Half of an X went across America in 2017. Let me remind you that in 2017, that was also the Revelation 12 sign of the Virgin that was bringing forth a son in 2007, the same year. And they said 7 years later, there was going to be another eclipse, and that's what we're up on now. And this eclipse goes across America too, in around April of 2024. It's going to go the other direction across America, and you put both of these eclipses together, they make a letter in Hebrew called a tav. A tav. It's the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It's like, almost like America gets crossed out with that eclipse. It's a crossing out, like as if somebody just put a cross on something, an X, cross it out. All right. But it looks like this year that America gets crossed out is a Jubilee year for Israel, the true Israelites. If you do the story, you do the history of Israel going into the Holy Land with Joshua, you count those Jubilees from that time. You come up to around 2024 as the 120th Jubilee. Excuse me, 70th Jubilee from the time of Joshua. And all together from the time, ancient times, it'd be 120 Jubilee. 70, it'd be the 70th Jubilee this next year. I believe I'm correct on that. I've looked at it a few times, and 120 Jubilees altogether from the beginning to the end, and 70 Jubilees from the time Joshua led the children of Israel over the Jordan into the land of Israel coming out of Egypt. So the 70th Jubilee looks like this next year, this 2024. In other words, the Jubilee will happen next year in September. I sort of see the 7th month always going on in September, but sometimes it doesn't. It happens in October in some years. But around the time of the Feast of Trumpets and the Day of Atonement is going to be the Jubilee next year. So what do you think is going to happen? Could this 70th Jubilee that's coming in 2024 be the reason why stuff is going on in Israel today? War. Could it be warming up for the fat lady to sing? All right. We're going to see. Now, we talked about year 2019 being the 400th year of captivity of the black man or the Negroes in America being slaves, starting in 2000, 1619. In 2019 is 400 years, the 400-year anniversary. All right. And Yahweh spoke to Abraham, saying in Genesis 15:13, know you not that your seed shall be strangers in a land that is not theirs, and they will serve them. And afterwards will I judge the nation that whom they serve, and they shall come out with great substance. So they will be slaves, they will be servants to a people that's not, to a land, and a land that's not theirs. And they shall serve them, and they shall serve them for 400 years. All right, 400 years. If you know and you study history, you're not just listening to ministers on TV or in churches. You do that time period that Israel was not in, they were not in Egypt for 430 years. They was definitely not in Egypt for 400 years. So that prophecy that Yahweh spoke about, the 400 years of affliction, has to be fulfilled somewhere. I wonder where that would be fulfilled at. It was fulfilled here in America, which is really Babylon of the latter days. It was really fulfilled here in 2019. And that means that the curses are over with for Israel. And that's the reason why you see these things starting to happen. He did say he's going to take the curses off of his people and place it on the heathen. This is what we're ready to see. Stay tuned. But I'm going to be honest with you, it looks like that's what's going on. There's going to be nothing that anybody can do about it. All right. So it looks like we got a X that marks the spot in April or Abib of 2024. And it looks like we have a Jubilee taking place around the 7th month of the Hebrew calendar, which is somewhere around September, October next year. And the Jubilee here, the trumpet blows, and that's on the trumpet blows, and everybody goes back to their original inheritance. All right. A trumpet blows and everybody goes back to their original inheritance. Could it be that Jacob is geared to go back to his original inheritance? And we're going to find out who Jacob really is, at least the whole world is. Jacob, to be honest with you, most of them know who they are. The major part of Jacob, scattered in captivity, know who they are. All right. And they will be scattered in the captivity until, guess what, the Jubilee. The Jubilee year. The 70th Jubilee. I think it's the 70th. You know, you can challenge me on that, but I think it's 120 Jubilees altogether. And from the time of Joshua going into Canaan land, for after that it'd be 70 Jubilee. The 70th would be Yahweh coming. The day of Yahweh. So we should really rejoice, because he said when you see all of these things starting to take place, then lift up your head and know that your redemption, like Job said, my Redeemer liveth. Your redemption draweth nigh. Was the redemption that's drawing nigh? Yahweh. Job said, let me see if I can find that real quick. He said, I know that my Redeemer liveth, and I want to make sure you see that this is Job speaking. And Job was probably not even an Israelite. He looked like he was an Edomite, to be honest with you. From the land of Uz. Uz is in the book of Job. It says Uz, the wizard of Uz. Let's see. Let me write this in here with the left hand. I want to remind you people, whatever you go through, whatever Yah allows you to go through for his glory, never give up, all right? Never give up. I'm going to be honest with you, you serving Yahweh. If you love Yahweh and you're serving, you're going to go through some tribulation until the time of tribulation is over with. Hold on just a moment. You kind of really should rejoice that God bless you to suffer for his kingdom. You should be a rejoicer. That's what the disciples did. They rejoiced when they had to go through tribulation for his name's sake. He said, my Redeemer liveth or lives. Let's see. I'm going to see in a moment. There it is, Job chapter 19, verse 25. Job said, for I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. So when you look at the scripture, it says, when you see all these things come to pass, all right, then look up, lift up your head, and know that your redemption draweth nigh. So who's Israel's redemption? The Redeemer. Take a look at this word Redeemer real quick, 1350 in the Hebrew. So Job had a relationship with the true Redeemer, with the true God, with Yahweh. I'm not sure if even the name Yahweh is in the book of Job. Is it in the book of Job? I know there's a book. I think it might be Esther, where the name Yahweh is not in the book. I think it is in the book of Job. But anyway, we know that the Redeemer, if Yahweh Shai is not Yahweh, then the Redeemer is Yahweh, not Yahweh Shai. Hebrew 1350. Goal, Goal, Goal. All right, that's the word for Redeemer. It means to redeem, according to the Oriental law of kinship, that is to be next of kin. So that means that Yahweh is another thing he's telling us. Yahweh going to be manifest in the flesh, because he's going to be Israel's kin, fleshly wise. But great is the mystery of godliness, God manifest in the flesh, justified in the spirit. Notice he's not justified in the flesh, he's justified in the spirit. Who was justified in the flesh? Yahweh Shai. And he, through the flesh, condemned sin. A lot of people think, well, because Yahweh Shai did that, then he's greater than the one that's coming. But notice that the Yahweh Shai is called the Lamb of God. So he was the Lamb for God. Yahweh's not coming like as if he never sinned or never done wrong. He basically knows good and evil. He created good and makes evil. But he is the God and Father of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. So he's the next of kin to the people he's going to redeem. Kinsman Redeemer. Now this is kind of a little, what is it called? A little troubling for this passage right here, where it says Job is saying they call him Yahweh his Goal, his Redeemer. But if Job was Edomite, the Edomites are related to Jacob. They're his brother, right? That makes a lot of sense there. So back then, these Edomites, like Job, knew Yahweh before they left as a people. So Yahweh would be his also next of kin. If he's an Israelite, he'd be Job's brother. Kinship. And as such, to buy back a relative's property, marry his widow, etc. All right. So Yahweh is the Redeemer. So when you see these things happening like you see now, look up, lift up your heads, and know that your Redeemer, your redemption, which is the Redeemer, draweth nigh. So what we're seeing, what is going on, is that the Redeemer, our redemption, which is the Redeemer, which is the next of kin, the Redeemer, is drawing nigh. So basically, what it's telling us, all of this trouble in the Holy Land over there, that there's somebody that's drawing nigh, drawing near. Where's he drawing near from? From heaven or on earth? He's drawing near to the earth, on the earth. That means that he's already here, but he's becoming what he's going to be. The closer he gets to becoming, the more troubles, the more what is it called? The birth pains, the contractions happen. All right. So when he becomes, it's born, comes out of the womb. All right. Let me see. Redeemer. Another no Redeemer living in the latter days shall stand upon you. So let me go down here to 2 Thessalonians. So this what had, when you talk about the Antichrist, or more specifically, the man of sin, the son of perdition. The Antichrist can be more than one person. But the man of sin, the son of perdition, more specifically, it has a lot to do with the coming of the day of Yahweh. All right. So the man of sin can only come in the day when Yahweh becomes. When the man child who's going to become Yahweh becomes. That's what's going to cause this. That's what I said when he becomes. That's when World War III is going to kick off. All right. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 5. Remember you not, when I was yet with you, I told you these things. Now, Paul was talking about some deep stuff to the people that were sitting there listening to him. All right. And now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in this time. That who might be revealed in this time. All right. Let's go back up. Let no man deceive you, verse 3. By any means, for that day shall not come. What day? The day of Yahweh. Shall not come except that come a fall on the way first, that man of sin be revealed. Son of perdition. So that day of Yahweh will not come. Unless that come a fall on the way first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And it's going to tell you how this man is revealed. All right. What takes place to cause this man, the son of perdition, to be revealed. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he is God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Now we're back where we was just at. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. So what is that withholdeth, that the man of sin might be revealed in his time? Let's check it out. For the mystery of iniquity that's already worked, only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way. All right. So the one that's coming is letting. It's really amazing, because when Yahushua rose up from the dead, all right, and remember, Yahushua is called the man of God, the Lamb of God, right? He's the Lamb of God. But check this out: when Yahushua risen from the dead, and you got Roman soldiers all around the tomb, I got a Roman seal on it, watching the tomb, and you have an earthquake that takes place, and this mighty angel descends from heaven. And Matthew chapter 28, verse 1 says he's the angel of Yahweh. He descended from heaven, rolled the stone away, and sat up on the stone. And it says that he had a garment on white as snow, and his countenance was like lightning. All right. Anybody wearing a garment white as snow, that means that the Lamb of God, the blood, has washed their garment white as snow. They basically went through tribulation and had their garments washed white as snow. And then Isaiah chapter 63, it says that in all their affliction, Yahweh, he was afflicted. In all the children of Israel's affliction, he was afflicted. And the angel of his presence saved them. So this angel of Yahweh come down from heaven and rolls the stone away, and he has a garment on white as snow. That's telling us something like that. All right. And his countenance is like lightning. Did you know that lightning is what produces nitric oxide in the green plants, the green vegetables? It's nitric oxide that causes your blood vessels to be healthy. Lightning is what causes nitric oxide. All right. If your blood vessels are healthy and stays healthy, you never die. Nothing can take you out. Did you know that your blood vessels getting ill and sick and growing old is what causes you to die? So basically, when you see the angel descend from heaven with a garment white as snow, that's kind of looks like lightning. All right. That's telling you. And he rose, and basically, yeah, this is at Yahweh's resurrection. Yahweh was risen with a body that was full of nitric oxide and never dies. But anyway, let's go to the angel with the garment on white as snow. Why does the angel have a garment on white as snow? And they said that Yahweh was Yahweh's lamb. Is that angel really Yahweh? All right. The angel told Moses, the angel of Yahweh told Moses in the burning bush, I am that I am. Is what you should tell the children of Israel. That I am means that I am or am means I will become, I will be. All right. Now this angel has been in the world because he didn't ascend back into heaven. He descended. We don't see him ascending back into heaven. This angel's been in the world. He stayed around, and he's the one that calls the the disciples to be filled with the Holy Spirit. He's the one that basically done helped do all those miracles that the disciples were performing in the book of Acts. He's been in the world since that time. What's going on there? Could that angel have something to do with the Yahweh becoming flesh? Because when we see in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, we see the Ancient of Days has a garment on, guess what? White as snow. When the Ancient of Days is revealed in the time of the end, he has a garment on just like that angel, white as snow. So what happened? All right. It looks like Yahweh becomes. So it says, now you know what withholdeth that you might be revealed on this time. Verse 6. Verse 7, for the mystery of iniquity has already worked. Only he who now letteth, who's the one that's letting? That angel, the one that spoke to Moses, the one that rolled the stone away from Yahweh's grave, that angel is letting. Is that angel Yahweh? Only now he who letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Let us check this out and see if this word has something to do with somebody becoming. All right. So that man is in the earth becoming. Because we see in the book of Exodus, I am means to become. And the word is higher, means to become. This word right here is going to be in the Greek, but doesn't have the same meaning, almost as the Hebrew higher. 1096 in the Greek, phenomenon, to cause to be, to generate, that is flexibly, to become. Right there, there it is, come into being. And look at that and see that on the screen from where you're looking from. Come into being. So that means that that angel stuck around. That angel had to be some part, or Yahweh, an angelic form. What would happen is he would cause himself to be born in human form. When he's born in human form, he will become. When he becomes who he was from the very beginning, he gets taken back up into heaven. He gets received up in the glory. Great is the mystery of godliness, God manifested in the flesh, justified in the spirit, seen of angels, preaching to the Gentiles, received up in the glory. So not only will Yahweh go up from the earth to heaven, this person is going to go up from the earth to heaven too. So what happens when this happens? The man of sin will be revealed, because after this man is taken out of the way, after he becomes Yahweh, the man of sin is revealed, manifest. How does that happen? Because when this takes place, when this man is taken out of the way, let me go down here to Revelation real quick. When he's taken out of the way, that means when he ascends up into heaven, after he becomes Yahweh. All right. And it ascends up into heaven. Make sure I get this here. He ascends up into heaven. Then he causes Michael to kick Satan out of heaven. Because Satan is still in heaven at the moment. All right. So what's going to cause the man of sin, the son of perdition, to become two? He's going to be possessed by Satan that's kicked out of heaven. So it says, she brought forth in Revelation 12, verse 5, she brought forth a man child who's the ruler of nations with a rod of iron. So who's this ruling all nations with a rod of iron? It's the man that became. He's really Yahweh, the Father. He's the ruler of all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God into his throne. I don't know about you, but this word right here means caught up unto God. Basically means that he was caught up unto being God. All right. Her child, let me highlight this real quick. And I love talking about this taking place. That's I'm talking about it because it's close upon us. I wouldn't be excited about talking just about a topic when Yahweh is close upon us, right? When he's drawing near. Child was caught up unto God into his throne. Caught up unto being God and sitting on his throne. That's what that means. Well, that's Yahweh. I already did. No, at the beginning of Revelation, it said these things that are yet to come to pass. It was Yahweh that showed up. But he told John to tell the people this book was about the things that had shortly to come to pass. I mean, they hadn't happened yet. So this child becoming, being caught up in the guy has not happened yet. When Yahweh gave the revelation to John, the apostle. So it's similarly it happened. It looks like Yahweh well, Yahweh looks like his father. But this child was caught up in the God into his throne. It says the woman fled into the wilderness where she had a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,234 days. Why is she protected of God? Because her tribulation is over with. Her tribulation was bringing forth this child. So she's hidden for 1,234 days. They feed her and she's doing pretty good. And the woman fled into the wilderness where she had the place prepared of God. See that? If they were still in tribulation, she would not have a place prepared of God. She'd be in captivity. Why is she fleeing? Well, we just said that let's see right here, this war that takes place. I'm gonna read this. And there was war in heaven. After this man child is called up in the God to his throne, there's war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. And prevailed not, neither was a place found any more in heaven. Has this happened yet? No. That means while the man of sin has not been revealed, is because he's still up in heaven. Satan, the dragon, is still up there in the heavens. Okay? When it says that only now he that letteth will let until he be taken out of the way, that right there, Revelation 12:5, the child was caught up into God into his throne. That means he's taken out of the way. And he kicked Satan out of heaven so that could happen. So that the man of sin, the son of perdition, can be revealed. Because Satan comes down from being kicked out of heaven and possesses the man of sin, the son of perdition. And then he's revealed. The great dragon was cast out, the old serpent called the devil and Satan, and which deceiveth the whole world, and he was cast into the earth. His angels were cast out with him. All right. So that means Satan will never be able to get back up into heaven. That's it. I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God, the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. So he was up in heaven accusing you that are truly Israelites before God, before his throne, like a prosecuting attorney. If there's prisons with the Israelites being locked up in them all over the world today, or at least in this country, that's because Satan is still before God, the true God on his throne, prosecuting his people. It's in the spirit up in the heavens, it's on the earth, down here also. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devils come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. The God no place in heaven no more. He knows his time is short. So what does he do with the short time? We're going to see in a second. When the dragon saw, he was cast into the earth. He persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. Yeah. He goes after the woman that brought forth the man child. But she's not being touched by him because there's a place prepared for her to feed her 1,003 I think it's 1,002 3,000, 1,000 something. I don't want to go back up there and look at it again. But anyway, to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness to her place, where she is nourished for a time and a half a time from the face of the serpent. That's really key. Wings of a great eagle. What is Yah going to give the Israelites in that time? It looks like something supernatural. To the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle. When the Bible says, "Flee out of the midst of Babylon, come out of her, my people, that you be not partaker of her sin and receive none of her plagues." He's telling them to come out of Babylon. How are they going to do that? But this scripture is telling us something supernatural is going to be going on. To the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a times and a half a time from the face of the serpent. So as we see that this son of perdition, all right, will be hanging around as the Antichrist spirit, but he will not be revealed until he which letteth is taken out of the way. Who is that letteth is allowing the Antichrist to do his work without being fully revealed? It's the angel of Yahweh. He's been doing it. He's been checking him from the very beginning, from the time he rolled the stone away from Yahweh's grave. He had the white garment on, white as snow, in Matthew chapter 28, verse 1 and 2. But it's going to come a time when his work is going to be over with. He's going to be caught up into God through his throne in human flesh. When that happens, Michael's going to kick Satan out of heaven. And then that's when the son of perdition, the man of sin, is revealed. But it takes the man child to be caught up and being taken out of the way. That means that the man child will be in the earth in the latter day, like Job said. I know that my Redeemer liveth, and in the latter day he shall stand upon the earth. He's going to stand up on earth. He's going to be taken up to the throne to being God again. And after that period of however many years it is, 3.5 years, he's going to come back down. So it's giving Satan, the man of sin, 3.5 years to do his thing, to try to defeat him. Comes back down from heaven and immediately locks Satan up and throws the beast and the false prophet into the lake of fire. So that man on that white horse in Revelation chapter 19 is, guess it? Jehovah himself. Yeah. And Yahweh comes down, when he comes down from heaven, they bring him before the Ancient of Days in Daniel chapter 7. I think it's verse 13. All right. So Yahweh does not do all of that. When does Yahweh step on the scene again? Let's go there and then we're going to be done. Really ironic that it's the same chapter where the Ancient of Days has a garment on white as snow. It's ironic. That's when Yahweh Shai gets his dominion. Yahweh Shai is going to reign, but it's not. He's not going to be the one that comes down and knocks the devil out. All right, he's going to reign. Who knocks the devil out? The Ancient of Days, Yahweh. I beheld till the throne was cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. Whose garment was white as snow, just like that angel. In Matthew chapter 28, verse 1 and 2. His garment is white as snow also, and the hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was like a fiery flame, and his wheels of burning fire. So is this person really the angel of Yahweh? All right. And it says, and I saw in the night vision, behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven. So one of the things that will have you discombobulated is you're thinking that the man is going up to heaven. No, what's going on right here, the Ancient of Days is already on the earth. And the Son of Man, the one like the Son of Man, is coming from heaven. He's coming to the earth from heaven. And I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days. Where's the Ancient of Days at? He's on the earth. So he's coming from heaven to the Ancient of Days. Came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion, glory, kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. So who is this? Is Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai comes after the Ancient of Days defeats all these enemies. That's what I'm saying in Revelation chapter 19, this Ancient of Days is the man on the white horse. That's him coming down from heaven after the 3.5 years being up there, being caught up to God into his throne. In Revelation chapter 6, the first seal that's opened up, the man with a white horse, with a bow in his hand and a crown on his head. The white horse rider is not the Antichrist. That's the man child. He goes forth conquering and to conquer. And he's coming back down from heaven in Revelation chapter 19. He's rounding up the beast and the false prophet, and he's ready to throw them into the lake of fire. And he does. All right. And he defeats all the enemies. Who is the Lord of glory? Yahweh, strong and mighty, Yahweh, mighty in battle, right? Psalm chapter 24. How's Yahweh mighty in battle? Well, we see it in Revelation 19. That's not Yahweh Shai. So when he gets done taking care of all these enemies, like he said, sit down my right hand till I make thine enemies thy footstool. Yahweh is the one basically defeating Yahweh Shai's enemy. Personally, his own self. Like that song I said, my mother loved so much. The pop song back in the 80s. I'm bringing it to you personally. He's going to bring it to Satan personally. It's Yahweh doing this. It's the day of Yahweh. So the Son of Man, one like, notice it said one like the Son of Man. So is it that the Ancient of Days is also Son of Man? It's going to be a Son of Man, and one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days. He's not going up into heaven. He already did that. He's coming with the clouds of heaven, coming down from heaven to the Ancient of Days, where the Ancient of Days is already on there. They brought him near before him. That was giving him dominion, a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So when it's Yahweh Shai reign, after the Ancient of Days defeats all these enemies for Yahweh Shai, that's when he comes back and he reigns. All right, everybody. I'm through. I hope you got it. I hope you see that these scriptures are pretty much on point. All right. And Yahweh Shai was questioned by the chief priests. They asked him, are you the Son of God? Tore his robe. All right. Tore the robe, which basically rendered him inactive. All right. Yahweh Shai said, you said, thou sayest it. And hereafter shall you see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of God, on the right hand of the power. And after sitting on the right hand of God, he's coming down in the clouds of glory. I think that's when the priest tore his robe when he heard that. So he told the chief priest, he said, hereafter shall you see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of the power. That means he's going to die and resurrect and ascend up into heaven and sit on the right hand of the Father. And then after that, you're going to see him coming down from heaven in the clouds of glory. All right. And so that's what this is talking about right here. He's going to come down in clouds of glory. That's after the Ancient of Days has defeated all the enemies for him. But anyway, y'all, praise Yah for all of this is coming. And I'm going to continue to teach on this topic. All right. And I'm rejoicing in it, even just lightly rejoicing. And I know the enemy, the dragon, the devil, Satan is upset about this because he knows it's coming. He don't want to hear that. All right. But that doesn't mean we don't teach it. We teach the truth. That Yahweh Shai is the son of Yahweh. He's coming back after Yahweh has made his enemies his footstool. All right. It's going to be a heck of a war. Let me go back there again. One more time. You're going to rejoice in this with me. Psalm 24. Lift up your heads, O you gates, and you've been lifting up your everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. So where's the King of glory going to when it says lift up your heads, O you gates, that even lift them up your everlasting doors? There's around the city of Jerusalem, there's gates and stuff. And there was an eastern gate that Yahweh came through. And he got it sealed up now. But in that day, he's saying, lift up your heads, O you gates, lift them up your everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. All right. In verse 8, it says, who is this King of glory? Yahweh, strong and mighty. Yahweh, mighty in what? Battle. So who's going to be doing the battles? Yahweh. Yahweh's going to do the battle for Yahweh Shai. All right, let's go. I'm tired. Hope you got enough. I hope it was edifying for you. All right. Shalom.